We're here in East London today and I am double dipping with Lauren Mahon. She was originally on season 3 of the podcast and has since then become a real dear friend of mine. She's the woman behind Girl vs. Cancer and she is and will always be one of the biggest inspirations in my life. So let's go have a chat. Lauren.
Hiya.
We're in the gaff. So I've got to ask, what are your thoughts on double dipping?
I'm all for it, mate. You know me, dirty bitch. I don't care. I love food. Like, everyone just get your hands in, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine by me. Fine by me, honey. Double dip away. Go for it.
Honestly, I think the best story about you and I is that we met online.
Yes.
We met online in 2020.
Yes.
On the podcast.
Yes.
I'd never met you before. I knew about you, obviously loved you and was like singing all your praises, obviously. But like a friendship has like truly blossomed from that. Like, and I can't say that about a lot of, like obviously a lot of the guests are friends of mine, but like we're super close.
Yeah.
And I love that it was kind of born from that.
It was born from crisp chat during a pandemic.
Literally.
Loved it.
Well, thank you for having us.
Always.
I mean, we got to talk about this place because I feel like it's your sanctuary. You talk about it a lot online. Like, I feel like you've brought people along on the journey. Why is this place so important to you?
Do you know what? It's that weird thing. You know, you get like energies when you move into places, right? And the place before this, I just moved into, then we went into a pandemic. A lot of shit went down in that place and it weren't good. Do you know what I mean? It was like a really hard place. And this is the first time I've lived alone. And when I arrived here, it just felt different. Like I felt a calmness. Like the place it's a converted coach house.
Okay.
Yes, hence all the beams.
Everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the person who originally bought it and converted it was a chippy. So like, you know, that's why I've got all like mezzanines and all random stuff. I feel like this house is very me because it's a bit eclectic, but it feels really nice and calm.
You walk in here and you're like, yeah, Lauren lives here.
Yes.
You know, you've like really put your mark on it. Before we kind of get into it, the smells and aromas of the food sitting in front of us, we need to talk about it. So I just want to thank Deeney's for supplying the goods. Tell us why we're eating Deeney's, because I always ask my guests, like, what's your favourite food? Like, where's your favourite spot in London? You immediately said Deeney's is your place.
So Deeney's is at the end of my road and it's a bit of an institution over here in like Leighton, East London bits. If you can't get it on Deliveroo, it's a sad day in your life, to be honest. But like, it's the hub of toasties in the area, but because they're Scottish, like heritage, you get the fillings like the haggis and stuff, which I had never tried haggis before I had Deeney's.
We've got the Hamish Macbeth, which is
so
a
good.
haggis, cheesy, toasty. Yeah, but this is your order, what's in this box, right?
So normally when I order from Deeney's of a breakfast, it's because I'm hungover and I'm tired and I could make a sausage sandwich at home, but why would I when I can get a square sausage?
Oh my God.
Can I bite it, please?
Okay, we're gonna have a quick little bite. Hold on.
Yes, you can have some sausage.
Oh, we haven't introduced Raymond.
Oh yeah, do you want to come in then? Come, Mama. Ray, Mama. Good boy. This is Raymond. I don't know if you can see him yet. You will be able to see him shortly.
Okay.
Because he's all up on me.
So we've got square sausage, we've got an egg, we got cheese.
Yes.
Oh, bloody hell.
Why on earth would I get a sausage and egg muffin when I can get this?
Also, this bread is lovely.
Yeah.
It's like a proper old school, like a bun, like a
floury bun, yeah. It's just, and I just think what makes it is a sausage patty.
Yeah.
Because it's not like some flimsy little patty.
No.
It's thick. It's got girth, Han. We like the girth.
We know that Lauren loves a bit of girth. And honestly, shout out to Patrick at Deeney's.
Yeah.
Lovely guy.
I love them. And whenever I have people stay, I always take them to Deeney's.
So let's kind of just get into it for a minute. So, as I said, we met literally
5 years ago.
5 years ago now. No, it is mad. I mean, obviously, you know, your journey and your story is something that kind of I fell in love with actually before I'd met you, because I was a fan of the podcast that you did with the girls and had known about you. But in the past 5 years, obviously a lot has gone on.
Yes.
You know, you've gone on different pathways, whatever. Kind of catch us up to date with sort of where you're at now, you know, what's happening with Girl vs. Cancer, because since then it became a registered charity.
So much. It's wild. I feel like the pandemic really did throw a spanner in the works in terms of the pod and stuff as well, because then it just meant the distance, especially between me and Deb. I barely got to see her before she died, really, because from 2020 to when she died in 2022, it's like most of our podcasts were recorded online. So I struggled with that. And there was actually a lot of loss in the cancer community during that time. So it's no wonder that I kind of lost my marbles a little bit. For a couple of years. But what I do is when I'm in a space of stress or trauma, I throw myself into projects. And so during the pandemic, like I released T-shirt collections. I did the bowel cancer one for Bowel Cancer UK with Deborah and loads of the bowel cancer community, registered myself as a charity. There's loads that went on. I also became an ambassador, very proud ambassador for the Estee Lauder UK and Ireland breast cancer campaign. So alongside Miss Elizabeth Hurley, no less, who I love, but also Karina Diem, Zoe, Dr. Zoe, who we all love, and one of my best mates, Leanne Perrault, which is such a dream. I love that I get to do loads of work with Leanne. She's one of my best friends now. Again, we met through cancer, and it's such a joy that we get to be in the same rooms and do the work together. So there's been loads of really good stuff. I've got a doctorate.
Yes, you did. Oh my God, she is Dr. Lauren Mahon.
Dr. Loz. Yes. I hold an honorary doctorate from the Institute of Cancer Research. I can call myself a doctor. I don't, because if anyone has a heart attack, I can't help you there. I can bring the vibes, can't bring any real tools.
All talk, no substance.
No, exactly. All mouth, no action. I could just
all fur coat, no knickers.
Not too far wrong there, Han, you know me. But yeah, it's been a whirlwind, actually. And I look back, I think it's only been the last 2 years that I've actually taken a step back. When Deb died, I've kind of dropped slowly a lot of the cancer stuff. I think I had to, because like from diagnosis, all I did was do the work. Part of it was to, help other people, but realistically as well, a lot of it was cathartic. It was supporting like myself getting through it and understanding it and creating a purpose out of something so dark. It just helped to make sense of it all, I guess.
For anyone who doesn't know the story, so let's just recap a second. You were diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 31.
Yeah.
And you and I have spoken extensively about this. Particularly, I think there was a connection because you were looked after at the Royal Marsden, which is where my brother had been looked after. And I think it's one of those conversations, it's one of those things that happens where you never think it's going to happen to you.
Never.
31 is incredibly young. If you're comfortable in doing so, like take us back to that moment and kind of how does something like that like even begin to start settling in your mind when you're told that news?
I think it's only now that I actually can sit back and go, okay, that happened. I think when you're in it, it's so survival mode that you just do what you need to do to survive what's happening to you. Yeah, I think it's only now I'm accepting it. And it's weird because when you're in the moment, you literally are so othered from your body that it's like the doctors are taking care of your body. You have to take care of your mind. That's the only way I can kind of describe it. I think I look back now, like I'm turning 40 this year. So almost 10 years. I'm 9 years since diagnosis this year, which is crazy. Because when you get diagnosed, you can never think that far ahead. Yeah. And so now, especially with all the losses that I've had, I feel so grateful to be turning 40. It's such a big milestone for me that it's mad to think that I entered my 30s that ill. Because it could not be further from where I am now. Even my life, how it looks. So, yeah, like at 30, I guess I was a very different person. Still me, but just kind of lost. And then something like this happens and it shakes everything to its foundations and you kind of have to reevaluate your life. Because I think we all kind of just are comfortably numb and we float around our lives and we just think everything will be okay. And I think things will always be okay, but what that looks like is different for other people.
But I think the beauty of what you created in what is possibly the worst scenario that someone could find themselves in at that age was that you created what started as a platform, Girl versus Cancer. And I think what, for me, sort of as someone who caught sight of it, is that, and that, correct me if I'm wrong, this is kind of one of the reasons why you started it, was that when people talk about cancer, usually, not so much nowadays, but very much so in the past, it was very much like old people get cancer and that's that community. And then I mean, horrifically very young children
Yeah.
get cancer, and then you have that community. But there's that little grey area of sort of like teenagers, 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds who are also being diagnosed, but there's not that community. And you created that, you know, and partnered or became friends with other people who were also in the same boat as you. And it was so interesting because I knew about a lot of like children's cancer charities because I've done a lot of work with them, but I didn't know, like, you're right, like you'd be in a hospital, you don't want to be with 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds, you want to be talking with people who are going through it at the same age as you.
Yeah, and like the same life stage even. Because it's like, you know, I got diagnosed, I was told I had cancer, and then in the same 10 minutes asked if I wanted children. And as someone who was 31, very, very single, like was lucky if I got a text back, like was, do you know what I mean? It's like, how can I make those decisions? And I really didn't know. Like I was in like the peak of like my partying days, and I was like at every festivals and like just but living my life, like having what most 31-year-old people are out doing, and that got cut completely short. So it's hard because it's not like I have a husband at home and kids to tell, and that's what all of the paraphernalia is, that's what all of the information is. It's giving information on that life stage. And I was like, can I have a glass of Prosecco? Can I go and get a spray tan so that I don't look so washed out when I'm going to my friend's birthday party? And it may seem vain, but it's not. It's just you want to present in the world and be in the world as you are. And it takes so much from you. When you're going through those treatments like chemo, when it does like obliterate your body to some extent, it feels important to retain some sense of self. And that's what I found really hard, is I didn't know who or how to be, because I was still me. I was just sick, and I knew it would be for a little while, even though it doesn't feel like it when you're in the middle of it. So it was like, how do you navigate all that stuff? Like dating was off the cards, things like that. Like I kind of felt very lost. I didn't know how to be Loza. So that's why Girl vs. Cancer started. And I'm really proud of it. I'm glad it's got its charity status. I've had to kind of, since Deb died, take a step back from it because I couldn't see it for what it was. So at the minute it feels very quiet, but it's still very much there. It's 10-year anniversary of it next year, September. So I'm trying to gear up to kind of giving it that fresh lease of life. It will still look the same, but I think just being really focused on what I want it to be, and in a way that is manageable for me. So that is still the work that I do, but it's not all that I do, because it's not all that I am.
I mean, obviously, I've always got to find a link to the food. And actually, I think there is a strong link in terms of food and cancer.
Yeah.
But when I was listening back to our initial chat 5 years ago, you actually said that one of the things you did when you got diagnosed is you went to the pub.
Oh, yeah, I did, yes.
So obviously, you go to the pub, give yourself a drink and sit the fuck down and be like, what the fuck? Did food ever play any role in these formative days when, you know...
Yeah. They did, because so we went to the pub, and that was more about the booze, and like all my family and friends descended on the pub, and it was this whole thing of like, I was like, I'm going to be fine. It didn't feel real. It was the next day. It's like any grief or like a breakup, you know, when you wake up and for the first 30 seconds you forget. Yeah. And then it hits you, and then it's like, whoa. And I do feel like for a few days, like I lost my appetite completely, which is very, very normal, obviously with stress. But then when I was seeing friends and like people wanted to catch up with me, I was trying to do it more around food than around booze. I was like, let's go for a nice meal. Let's do that. Because what I knew of chemo was around taste buds and things. And so I was like, let me just like eat all the things I love in case that happens. Luckily for me, that didn't really happen until later on into my treatment.
I was going to ask you that.
So I had 8 chemos. The second round of chemos were a different drug. And I just say it's like Dettol. Like it just wiped everything. It was a horrible drug. But like it did affect my taste buds in that I couldn't have fruit juices. My friend came down from Manchester, Larice, my bestie, and we went off and did some nice things. Where did we go? We went up at some rooftop bar. I think maybe Sushi Samba. And I was like, I'm going to have a cocktail today, because I was a bit further out. It was like towards the 3rd week of my cycles. And I had a porn star martini. And when I tell you, that passion fruit was horrific.
Really?
In my mouth, yeah. And I thought, oh, maybe it's because of the alcohol, but I actually just couldn't do fruit juices. It was so burny. And then also what I hated is I love a cup of tea. Family's Irish, mate. We're raised on the stuff. It tasted like nothing.
Really?
That's what broke my heart, yeah.
What food got you through those days?
Stodge.
Okay.
So
So
like
we're going to beige food.
straight to
Super
beige,
simple.
pizzas, burgers, basically anything to keep my calories up and keep the weight on me because of the treatment. So that luckily for me, I didn't really suffer with nausea. Because that would have been the end of my world because I love food. So yeah, the delivery apps got a lot of money and time from me. And also what was super cute is that my sister was pregnant at the same time I was going through chemo. So it's like my lump was getting smaller, her bump was getting bigger. So when she was like off and we'd spend time together, she'd be with me at mum's house. And there was a little French deli down the road and they do really good baguettes. So she'd always we'd go and we'd get, and mine was always like a tuna baguette. I don't know what you're going to bring up in a second. Mine was always like a tuna baguette with like cheese and tomato and like things like that. Yeah. So like it was big food. Yeah. It wasn't like rich. Yeah. It was more big filling.
When you got the all clear, was food a part of the celebration?
Yes, as well, because like I had this thing when I was towards the end of chemo. I really, really, really wanted to go to the sea and eat fish and chips by the sea. That is one of my favourite things to do. Yeah. So we did that. Me, my mum, and my dad, and my sister. We went down to the caravan and we got fish and chips and we sat at the sea and we ate them, and that was really special.
Oh, yeah. That's so beautiful as well. I can just picture it.
I just love it. Like, and it's still my favourite thing to do. Actually, for my actual birthday, the day before, I'm going down to Margate. Margate's my favourite place, you know this. Yeah. So I'm going to Margate and I
popped my Margate cherry with you, actually, didn't I?
You did?
Yes.
That was fun.
That was a fun weekend.
I took you some good food places then, didn't I?
Actually, no, seriously.
Yeah.
Margate food scene is
so good.
Delicious.
So good.
Yeah.
So for going down for my birthday, I was like, oh, maybe I'll gather some of the troops in Margate and we'll have a really nice dinner. And I thought about it and I was like, no, I'm going to go sit on the steps. Fingers crossed it's like a decent day's weather. I've got a bottle of Tattinger up there that Rachel got for me, Rachel from the pod, for my birthday one year. I've not drank it yet. So I'm going to take that to Margate and we're going to sit on the steps, have fish and chips and a bottle of champagne and watch the sunset on my 30s.
Oh, that's so
I know, I'm going to be
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know.
It's very emotional.
It's very emotional. Because I just feel like my 30s have been the most formative years of my life, more so than my 20s were. I've grown up a lot in my 30s. I like the woman I've become as a result. It's taught me a lot of lessons and I'm just really excited and grateful to be stepping into my 40s. So many of my friends didn't get to do that. So it feels like a really special moment to be my favourite place, fish and chips, champagne, watch the sun. Oh God, that's my clock, sorry. And it's wrong time as well. And day.
Lauren in a nutshell.
It's me in a nutshell, I haven't fixed it. But yeah, it just feels like really significant and beautiful thing to do. When I turned 30, the idea of like going to the sea and like being away from family and like waking up in a hotel room on my own would have like been like, oh no, that's horrible. It's so lonely. And I think it's just a testament to how hard I've worked and the healing that I've done in these last 10 years, despite everything. Raymond Mon over there, thank you. But this, I've chosen to do it because I want to wake up by the sea. I want to go for a massive walk with Ray Ray. I want to go to Fort's, which is my favourite place for like breakfast, lunch in Margate, and just have like my favourite breakfast and then drive back and see everybody. There's something about entering into my 40s and just sitting in that and just having a moment before the celebrations boot off.
Absolutely. But also just allowing yourself to like, not give thanks, but kind of process. You have had a decade that is wilder than most people I know.
Yeah.
You know, as you said at the beginning of the chat, you entered your 30s, bit of a party girl. A year later, you get diagnosed with cancer. You're now entering your 40s, healthy, happy, in a completely different space. I mean, you've literally seen and done it all.
Yeah. And it's like
experienced it all.
But I wish I could tell 30 or 31-year-old Lauren that, you know, that beautiful thing of actually this is all par for the course and actually we're all going to get to 40 and you're going to be happier than you were beforehand because of the learnings and stuff.
Absolutely.
But it's just that like I had the cancer diagnosis. So that was one thing. And I was only just getting to cope with the recovery of it and finding a stable place. We went into a pandemic. The world's never been the same. So I just sit there, I'm like, well, my 30 tried to kill me twice. With love, fuck off. Let's move into the next chapter.
So
and enjoy
true.
ourselves.
It's so true.
Yeah.
I do need to take it back because you know what I'm about to bring up. You actually just mentioned that lovely tuna baguette that you were eating when you were when you were going through treatment. Lauren, you exposed yourself quite a bit in our initial chat. We were talking about your childhood and your nostalgic food memories, and you were talking to me about something that you and your sister used to do as kids. You would get your mum to open up tuna cans.
Yeah, put them in a bowl.
On the floor.
On the floor, and we'd pretend to be cats, and we'd eat them.
Did you eat them like that? Like sort of
Yeah,
like...
we tried to. We'd have our hands on the floor and be like... My mum was like, what are you doing? Like, but whatever, 3 kids under the age of 26, my mum. Like 3 kids 5 and under. So my mum was like, you just entertain yourselves, darling. I've got washing to do.
On one of your 40th celebrations, I might need to get you to recreate that.
Oh my God, yes, maybe. Maybe I'll let you. Maybe it'll be like, oh, do you know what it's giving? You know in Big Brother, what's his face? And he's like, now I'll be the cat. That politician who was in there. That's what it's giving. But yeah, that's what we did. But I love tuna. Clearly.
Well, clearly. I mean, yeah, I mean, I just thought it was so brilliant. I mean, you'd only just met me and you're there just, talking about basically, reenacting life as a cat. But I love that about you. Yeah. So I round up the conversations with one question that you get to choose. Off camera, you have chosen the question, which is, if you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
It's kind of a 2-for-1 deal. My grandparents.
Oh.
I really would. Like, I think as I've gotten older, like, I would love to sit down with them now and just be like, look.
Yeah.
Like, and like, you get so much different, a different perspective on your relationship with them. And like, just to check in, I'd give anything to sit down. And we'd probably have to have fried onions, pork chop, and some kind of potato, because that was my granddad's dish of choice. Yeah, it would always be like, Chrissy, onions. And she'd be like, all right.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, Lauren, I hope that this little catch up, this little moment together kind of is incorporated into your 40th celebrations. I know it's such a big year for you, and I know I'm a part of some of it as well. But honestly, you were an inspiration before I met you. You're still an inspiration, and keep doing what you're doing, because honestly, we need more people out there like you.
Oh, hands, stop.
It's true.
I love you so much. I feel exactly the same about you, my girl.
I love you.
Yeah. Oh, I was on my
hello.
I dislocated her from squeezing it too hard. Sauce.
Right, let's eat haggis.
Oh my God, yes.